my name's Rachel, and today the question of the day is this a joke? I'm seriously asking, what is funny? Today we're talking about the fact that I engaged with other booktubers in the great idea of reading 10 years of Goodreads Choice Awards winners. We all picked well, I didn't pick. Obviously we know that I got picked because I am such a funny person. We all know that that's the reason I got picked, and definitely not because the person who was originally chosen was unavailable. And I got asked kind of later in the process if I would take on humor because there was nobody covering this category. It's because I'm funny. Definitely not because they needed somebody to fill the slot. It's because I'm funny, right? Today I am talking about 10 books that I read. Some of which sort of were funny. Everybody had a different category. My category was humor. Are you serious? Are you serious? Why are you meowing at the door? Are you serious? I don't know if you speak cat, but she just said, bitch, you're not funny. I know. So the thing about the Goodreads Choice Awards is that it is a popularity contest, and it is a popularity contest as a whole, but when you do a whole category of reads, you become intimately familiar with how much of a popularity contest it is, especially with the category of humor. This was me searching high and low for the jokes. Hello? Jokes? Hello? 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 That was an echo. Where were the jokes? Where were they? I read 10 books. You know how many made me laugh out loud? 2 of them. See if you can guess before I say which ones actually made me laugh out loud, because we're going to talk about them mostly in depth. Some of these I'm going to skim over because they were just stupid. 2022's winner was The Office by the people who played Angela and Pam on The Office. 2021 was Broken in the Best Possible Way by Jenny Lawson. 2020 was Strange Planet by Nathan Pyle, is that his name? Wow, I'm really good at this. 2019 was Dear Girls by Wong. 2018, The Last Black Unicorn by Tiffany Haddish. 2017, Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham. I don't know. Lorelai Gilmore. 2016, The Girl with the Lower Back Tattoo by Amy Schumer. Can you tell that I loved that book so much? 2015, Why Not Me by Mindy Kaling. 2014, Yes Please by Amy Poehler. 2013, Hyperbole and a Half by Brosh. How do I even want to do this? Did I structure this video? No. Did I script this video? No. Did I just finish the last book at the last minute, literally an hour ago, and then slap my makeup on? I did. Great. Okay, how am I structuring this? Good question, audience. I wish I knew beforehand. Let's just go from most recent to least recent. Yes? 2022, The Office by Jenna and Angela. Okay, here's the thing. I love The Office. I love The Office, and I think Jenna and Angela are great people. Should this have won Goodreads Choice Awards for humor? Absolutely not. Was this book funny? No. Was it a good book? Yes, it was. And here's the thing. These books that are winning Goodreads Choice Awards are winning because they are popular or written by somebody that is like well loved or at least well known. Is the humor category winning because they're actually humorous books? No, they are not. The funniest part about this book, there wasn't one, except the parts when they would just reenact things that Michael Scott had said on The Office. Those things were funny. Was it a good book? Yes. Why? Because Jenna and Angela are really nice people. They are able to do a lot of fan service here for those of us who love The Office and tell us a lot of details that otherwise we never would have known about people that we watched for 8 years and loved. But nostalgia is not funny. It's not a funny book. It's a book that I deeply appreciate. I gave the damn thing 5 stars, but was it funny? Absolutely fucking not. The book that should have won, in my opinion, not that I read the whole of 2022's, books, but I did read 2 of them, The Office and then Huda Fami's book, Who to F Are You? Who to F Are You should have won because Huda Fami is really fucking funny. It was one of my favorite books last year, actually. I appreciate all the details from behind the scenes of The Office, and I appreciate their appreciation for the people behind the scenes of The Office that we never would have known about otherwise. So as a viewer of The Office, you don't know about all the people who work behind the scenes, but Jenna and Angela do, and they were able to recount for you all of these really important people, even down to like the lady who was in charge of changing the clocks so that whatever time of day it was supposed to be on the episode was actually present on the clocks. Like that was her job. I appreciate that they took the time to say thank you to her and all kinds of other, people working behind the scenes that did a lot of really hard work. and their appreciation for each other and their own friendship. It's beautiful. I love that. I'm happy that I read this book. Was it funny? No, it was not funny. So it shouldn't have won. It's a great book, but it shouldn't have won. I'm pretty sure that a lot of fellow people who are doing this thing that we're doing here with this playlist of Goodreads Choice Awards winners are probably going to say the same thing. Is this a good book? Sure. Should it have won this particular year for this category? Absolutely fucking not. That's the problem with the Goodreads Choice Awards. Number 2021, Broken in the Best Possible Way by Jenny Lawson. This shit is really fucking funny. This shit is really fucking funny. And I'll tell you why. So Jenny Lawson, here's what I think is funny. I am not an expert on humor. I don't even think I'm funny. But I do know that I do like to laugh. I like a good hee hee ha ha. I like a good humorous, escapade through a conversation or a book. I dig it. Jenny Lawson knows how to play into things that I think are funny, which are talking about the ridiculous antics of pets, talking about the ridiculous antics of children, self-deprecating humor, weird human interactions where mostly you're making fun of yourself and how you interact with other people and thinking the whole time, God, I'm so fucking weird. How do I have any friends? Jenny Lawson does all of that. But she's also doing this thing because, oh my God, so many of these books were like, yes, I'm funny, but also I have like human moments, but it's fine because I have this platitude to sell you. And I'm like, oh wow, I don't give a shit about your positive little idea for how to make my life better when you're a literal millionaire celebrity who isn't fucking funny. Amy Poehler, Amy Schumer. Maybe it's a problem with Amy's. No offense to the Amy's out there. I really like that Jenny Lawson is like, listen, I have all these medical problems. I'm going to tell you all the hilarious anecdotes about finding out about my medical problems. And then I'm not going to tell you that it gets better. Sometimes days are just shit, and then sometimes you have this like really beautiful moment that gives you hope that sometime down the line you will eventually have another beautiful moment in life, but it's not going to be great all the fucking time. And as a negative Nancy myself, I appreciate that. The time when she was going through all the tweets that she was like, oh, tell me about like a really awkward moment you have, I was getting these nails put on and I'm sitting there going like this trying to get my nails done, laughing at this audiobook because she's reading these tweets of people sharing their most embarrassing moments, and I was trying to hold it together and I laughed in my nail tech's face. Oh God. So fucking embarrassing. So like while I'm listening to other people get embarrassed, I'm getting embarrassed. Thank you, Jenny Lawson. I also love the time when she would go off on these hilarious tangents where she's like, one time I got tested and it turns out that I had tuberculosis, and I called my doctor and I was like, tuberculosis? I have that? She's like, of course you do, Jenny. You have a bunch of medical fucking problems. Of course you have tuberculosis too. And so she was telling her friend, she's like, yeah, so the bloodworms say that I have tuberculosis. And her friend was like, what do you mean bloodworms? You have bloodworms too? And then Jenny looked at her text and realized, oh, I said bloodworms when I really meant blood work. Although I probably have bloodworms too, like the time that we all got buttworms. So we all collectively as a family, her husband and their child, had to take buttworm medication. She's like, I swear to God, it was probably from my cat, because cats walk around, they leave their butthole just like sitting on every fucking surface. And it's so fucking funny because all of it is true and relatable, and the way that she delivers things is funny. I realized in this that the not just the content of what is funny has to be funny itself, but the way that you deliver it has to be funny. And I think that that's why I don't find Amy Schumer funny. And it's also why I could find Tiffany Haddish funny, because her delivery is great, but what she's saying is awful. I'll get there. I let my patron, by the way, pick my makeup for the day, and I just realized I look like Kevin from Up. So the real punchline here, the real joke, is me. The punchline is my face. I realized that not only does content and delivery both have to be funny for me to think something is funny, but also context for who the person is. In general, I don't like Amy Schumer, so I went into her book not really thinking it was gonna be funny, because every single time I've ever heard Amy Schumer talk, this has been my face.
My little baby son, his name is Jean. Why is it Jean? Because my husband's mother, her name was Jean. She passed away. And it's sad that she passed away, but not having a mother-in-law, I'm sorry.
I don't think she's, like, I've never heard Amy Schumer say a single thing that is funny. But I don't think that I like celebrity memoirs unless we are talking about a very particular thing. I don't care about the series of pizza delivery guys that they slept with, or any of the series of mediocre sex that they've had. I don't give a shit what celebrities are doing unless it's them talking about their struggles with their mom and their mental health. But even then, they have to be a very particular person and have a very particular book for it to actually win with me. So it's the context of who the person is. And that brings me to my next one, which is the one from, 2020? Strange Planet by Nathan Pyle. So before I read this, I already thought that these comics that Nathan writes are funny because they are relatable and they make like a weird spin on things that are familiar to us in real life, but sort of like if you say something but then you put like a fancy accent on it, it's funny for some reason. It's normal things that are happening in real life, but you say them weird and suddenly it's funny. Also, I really like visual media. Visual media is funnier than non-visual media. However, it did dampen going into this book knowing that Nathan Pyle had been called out for previously being pro-life, although it seems like he may have possibly dumped that. I don't know. He says he voted for Bernie Sanders, so hopefully that means that he doesn't think that people with uteruses should, you know, just be perpetual incubators, like some sort of weird alien life. That seems like something that some sort of weird alien looking human would do people that they consider subhuman. So anyway, so Strange Planet by Nathan Pyle I thought was hilarious for the most part, especially when he would combine like very relatable things about children or pets. He talks about cats and it's aliens experiencing things that humans experience, but putting like a spin on how they talk about it is funny. That shit's funny. Cartoons are fucking funny. But yeah, it did dampen my enjoyment of it knowing that he had been called out for being pro-life previously. So context does affect what's funny. Like I'm sure that I say things once in a while that are probably funny, but anybody who watches my shit and fucking hates me, they're not gonna laugh because they don't fucking like me. That changes the context of the joke for them. Makes sense to me. 2019's winner was Dear Girls by Ali Wong. I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. I thought some of the stuff was a little not funny, but this book was not actually written for, I mean, it was technically written for an audience, but it's written to her girls, her 2 daughters. That's why it's called Dear Girls. It's not written to like girls across the world. It's written to her daughters. And some of this shit was so fucking funny. I really enjoyed like the tales of, this is one that I actually enjoyed listening to like her previous sex partners and stuff, and listening to her meeting her stories about her meeting her husband and how like fucking weird he was and how she was like so fucking annoyed with him after their first date, but previously when she had met him she was like, that dude is a fucking catch, I need to get in good with this guy, and then having like a really shitty first date with him. I haven't watched all of her stand-up. I think I've seen like a couple minute clips of it, and some of it is like, that's another thing, is you can tell what you actually think is funny by how you are laughing. So in parts of these books, even the ones that I say they're not funny, some of them made me do this with my nose. That's not a laugh. That's your body expelling air because something happened that was adjacent to being humorous. I don't count that as being funny. Then there were books that just made me like, that's Amy Schumer's book. And then there are books that had me like actually audibly laughing out loud in front of my nail tech really embarrassingly. So that was fun for me. Why did I choose to listen to funny audiobooks while I was getting my nails done? Because again, I am the joke. So I really appreciated Dear Girls by Ali Wong. I really appreciated like her talking about parenting and like baby poop and her experiences with her mom. A lot of it was just relatability and delivery again. So if it's relatable and if it's delivered well, it's gonna be funny. So Dear Girls by Ali Wong was funny. Oh no, now I have to talk about Tiffany Haddish. Okay, I'm not familiar with Tiffany Haddish at all except for the fact that she played this character in the Lego movie, the sequel, which I have watched a million times because I have children. That's as far as my information about her goes. Yes, I know she was involved in some stuff that people are really not happy about. I decided to not talk about that in this video because I need to talk about what's in her book, because oh my god, it was so bad. It was so bad. I cannot believe that people read this and thought that's fine, because what the fuck? So Tiffany Haddish's book sometimes made me go, So, you know, you blow air out through your nose, and also you make a little noise, like, you know. So it was a little humorous in some parts, right? Because she has really great delivery. And then I got to the 50% mark. And this was right after she had told the story that left me going like this. No. Of her breaking up with her boyfriend because he was pimping this other woman, and then she decided it would be a good idea to get back at him by becoming that woman's pimp herself. Okay, that was a choice that okay. Anyway, the next part was her talking about how right after she and that guy broke up for good, she decided to start dating this guy that she worked with, who, in the book at least, she called Roscoe. And by the time I was done with this chapter, I was so fucking horrified because nothing about this was funny. It was really disturbing. So Roscoe is a disabled man who has like he has a impaired arm, so it's like a smaller arm. She called it, I hesitate to like even tell you how much ableism went into this because it was so bad. I just really, oh my god, it was so fucking bad. I was horrified. I sat there like fucking shocked that she thought this was a good idea. So she said a bunch of stuff about his arm, and the whole time she's narrating the audiobook, he has a certain way of talking because he is disabled in a way that it affects that, and she is putting on that accent the whole time, and that was really tough to listen to. But then she got to the part where she actually decides to go on a date with him, and then she decides that she's gonna have sex with him. She describes having sex with him, and she's so disgusted by him that she has to turn around during sex with him, and then she's having a better time, and then the sex was really good, and then afterwards she says that the sex fixed his voice, but only for a minute, and I'm sitting there like my jaw is on the fucking floor at this point. I'm trying to do the dishes in my kitchen and I'm just like, what the fuck am I listening to? And she's like, I didn't want my friends to make fun of me. And then, you know, his voice was fixed and I was like, oh, you know, we can be together. And then I came back from getting him like a glass of water or something and his voice was the way that it normally was. And she's like, oh no, my pussy didn't fix his voice. And I was like, ma'am, what the fuck is wrong with you? I couldn't listen to it anymore. I DNF. I hated it. I could not believe that she actually typed those words and then audibly read it in front of a microphone and thought that that was a good idea. And in the end, she breaks up with him because of his disabilities, and then he runs away. Like he dips. The group home that he lives at, they don't know where he is. And I was like, this is a horrible story. This is a story of awful things that you did that you should not have done. And I don't know what you thought my reaction would be to this, but I'm not laughing. I'm horrified. I'm genuinely horrified. Like, my kid has autism. It's not like Roscoe's situation. He wasn't autistic. I would be fucking horrified if a person did that to him and then wrote it in a book and thought it was funny. And then he was so distraught that he ditched his entire life, his job, his group home. Like, I was really disgusted by that. So anyway, I DNF'd. Because that shit's not fucking funny. Year 2017's winner was Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham. Is that her name? Her name's Lorelai Gilmore because that's who she played on TV. And that's in part what the book is about, is playing Lorelai Gilmore the first and the second time. Just like I'm a huge fan of The Office, I'm also a huge Gilmore Girls fan. But again, nostalgia does not make her a funny book. Fortunately, in Lauren's case, she is actually funny in parts. So I did enjoy this book quite a bit. In the parts that she talked about her experiences growing up and some of her experiences in Hollywood, I did really like some parts of the book. Do I think it should have won that year? No, probably not. No. I can understand Broken by Jenny Lawson winning. I can't understand Lauren's book winning. The only reason that it won is because Gilmore Girls was making a comeback, and again, nostalgia, and this is a popularity contest in the end. That's why people voted for it. Was it actually funny enough to be the winner? Probably not, but again, I did not read all of the books from that year. Can you imagine that kind of project? That would take me the entire fucking year. I'm not doing that shit. But she kind of pissed me off at one point because she was sitting there talking about how she has like who she calls an old lady who lives in her head, who's like not her, but a part of her, who judges people for doing stuff like getting tattoos and you know, going on one night stands. And I'm like, Lauren, that's you just admitting that you have a judgmental part of yourself. Like, I didn't need to know that about you. I would rather not ever know that about you. I don't need to know that part of you is a judgmental dick. None of that is funny. Like, I know that you're trying to be humorous, like, oh, it's just my old lady who lives in my head. It's not me that thinks those things about you. Yes, it is. You're judging me for having a tattoo and blaming it on some old lady that you made up. The fuck are you talking about? Like, why did you think that was funny? But I do appreciate, you know, her stories of also being on the set of Gilmore Girls and, you know, funny stuff that happens there. And also I really appreciate her being honest about the fact that the Gilmore Girls A Year in the Life did end on a cliffhanger, because everybody else seems to not be saying that it ended on a cliffhanger except Lauren. Those who worked on it, I mean. Anyway, I appreciate this book, but no, I don't think it should have won. 2016, The Girl with the Lower Back Tattoo by Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer's not funny. Amy Schumer has some empty platitudes she'd like to sell you once in a while when she's not feeling super sarcastic and at some points just fucking rude. But one thing that I have learned is that if a book at any point says something like, you know, oh, I can't make certain jokes because some people will get mad, you know that you're not fucking funny. And that was Amy. I don't think she's funny. Every time she talks, I'm like, I'm supposed to be laughing and I'm not laughing. Why am I not laughing, Amy? One of us is a comedian and one of us is confused about where the jokes are. I am once again searching high and low, Amy, for the jokes. I'm not finding them, Amy. Just because you are a celebrity who's known for making comedy does not actually mean you're funny. I think that a lot of Hollywood has people who Hollywood thinks is funny, maybe because they think that they can sell them for humorous purposes, but they're not actually. And Amy Schumer's one of them. You know who I wish I could have read a book by instead of Amy Schumer is that lady who plays Wanda on the John Oliver show. She's fucking funny. Or the chick from Abbott Elementary. She's funny. But again, I don't really love celebrity memoirs, and just because somebody is known in Hollywood for being funny does not necessarily mean that I need a memoir written by them and then for it to win the category. Just because they are known for being funny does not mean that they can write a funny book. Amy Schumer just talks about like all these dudes that she's boned, and I don't give a fuck about that, and all the fat phobia that she's dealt with. I don't know. She gives me the ick. I don't like her. 2015, Why Not Me by Mindy Kaling. Here's the thing about my relationship with Mindy Kaling. I love Mindy Kaling. Love Mindy Kaling. I think Mindy Kaling is brilliant and witty, and I am in awe of her. I am in awe of her fashion sense. I am in awe of, I think that she is powerful and incredible, and I look up to her. Do I think she's funny? No, I don't think that Mindy Kaling is funny. I watched a lot of that show, The Mindy Project, and the person I was laughing at was this guy, was not Mindy. Same for The Office. I was not laughing. I laughed at Mindy during this book. I felt bad about it because she was like talking about how she like really loves making out with her co-stars, which kind of was weird, but all right, it was fine. And she was like, she had made out with Seth Rogen for a movie, and she asked him like, do you think I'm a good kisser? And he's like, I honestly don't even remember kissing you, and it was like 5 minutes ago. And I laughed at her, and I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be laughing at her. I think this book is supposed to be funny. I think she's really smart, and I think that she does great about not giving as many empty platitudes as, say, Amy Poehler, but this was just kind of like her escapades through, you know, being famous, and I think it was just fine. Like, it was just sort of an upbeat Mindy Kaling book, and I'm like, great, that's fine. Is this funny? No, I don't think that this is funny. I think that she produces funny television when she's in the writer's room, like for and just like good quality television. So for instance, she wrote the episodes of Jim and Pam getting married on The Office. Those are some of my favorite episodes. Like, she's quite brilliant. I think she's so smart, and I really look up to her, but I don't think she's funny. It's the same way I feel about like fucking Meryl Streep. Like, I don't think Meryl Streep is funny, but man, do I think she's like a goddess among women. Somebody that I don't necessarily feel one way or the other about, but sort of annoyed the shit out of me with her book is 2014's winner, Yes Please by Amy Poehler. I really love the work that Amy Poehler did. I think she's funny as Leslie Knope. I don't think Amy Poehler is that funny, like in her Saturday Night Live sketches or in her day-to-day. And again, this was another book where I laughed at the person. So like, she was saying how she used to keep her mom and dad awake, and she would be staring at them in the night, and I'm like imagining that, and I was laughing at her, and I felt bad. But this book was full of empty platitudes, and I was like, Amy, please, I don't give a shit about your positivity nonsense. I am a negative Nancy. I will continue to be a negative Nancy. I don't need empty platitudes. I hate them. And I especially don't want empty platitudes from like some white lady 10 years ago who hasn't really been through a ton of shit and doesn't deal with like regular mental health issues. And I just don't, like, I don't feel like we have enough in common for your platitudes to actually work for me. Keep that shit to yourself. Also, it's just not fucking funny. Like, just because this is another example of like somebody who's just famous and known for funny shit making a book and it winning despite it not being funny. I am appreciative of her as a person outside of this book. I really love the relationship she has with other people and how she like brought them in to do the audiobook. That was cute and sweet. Was it funny? No. I think I gave this like 2 stars. It wasn't good. And then 2013 and this was the funniest one of all. Hyperbole and a Half by Ali Brosh. I will say that I didn't love, and this is from 10 years ago, I didn't love that she called her dog the R slur. I realized that 10 years ago we weren't talking about how terrible that is. I just wish that it wasn't there. I didn't like that. But other than that, this book had me fucking rolling. I finished it today and I saved it for last because I recognized Ali Brosh's illustrations and I was like, I feel like I'm going to like that one the best, so I saved it for last. I was right to do that. I needed to end on a good note after all I'd been through with Roscoe and Empty Platitudes and Lauren Graham telling me she's judging me, but it's okay because it's the little old lady who lives in her head. I'd had enough. So I really enjoyed this because it's so fucking funny. The way she talks about her dogs and her as a kid. The hot sauce thing had me fucking dying. So she's telling this story and she interweaves all of her stories constantly with these graphics that she makes, these illustrations that are fucking hilarious. And so she's talking about the time where she as a kid accidentally ate hot sauce and her parents were like, oh, you like hot sauce? She was like, yeah, I guess. And then her parents brought their friend over and he challenged her to see who could eat more hot sauce, and she ate more habanero hot sauce than this grown man. And then she was so desperate for her parents' approval that she just kept pretending to fucking love hot sauce. And I was like, oh my god, this is so relatable because that's me. That's me. Except it wasn't hot sauce. It was spirituality. The Jesus was my hot sauce. Because I pretended as a kid to be like very spiritual to get approval from my fundy mom because I wanted like her to like be like impressed by me. And then she's like, so it became my whole personality with my family, so they would stop getting me toys at Christmas and Santa would start bringing me fucking hot sauce and fucking chili pepper pajamas. And then like things that were even like related to like hot sauce would start coming up for me, and I'm like, ah, it's great. And it reminds me of like being a kid and like getting all of these like notebooks and being sent to like all these conferences and like these like spirituality notebooks where you like write your journal to Jesus entries, and you get like more of these fundy books for kids. And it's like, oh no, what have I done? Oh god, I want normal fucking toys. I want Polly Pockets, and instead I am getting bags full of Bible quotes and trips to listen to speakers talk to me about my purity at 8 years old. Oh god, what have I done? I was fucking dying. And then she talks about like the thing is about this book is that because I'm a visual learner, it stays with me longer. Also, I just read it, so I love when she talks about like all these different things that her dogs do. All in the time a goose got in her house and attacked her husband and her, and they had to hide, and she was like, no, the goose can have the house. We'll just stay in this room. Our bedroom's big enough to live in. We don't need the whole house. And then like trying to teach her dog to be normal, and the dog's just making this like squealing noise perpetually. Or trying to like move away from their home, and their dog is like, I actually cannot emotionally handle this. Speaking of funny, it's funny that my 3-year-old's here, even though he's supposed to be outside with Dada.
Yeah.
Don't touch that.
And the yellow cheese.
A studio with cheese?
Yeah.
Wow, the real joke was you. No! Don't show your face. I don't want people knowing that you are a person. Nobody look. Nobody look. Nobody look. Nobody look. I'll blur you out. I don't care.
And the yellow water, cheese, what do we eat?
Okay. So the only 5 stars that were actually humorous, because some of these did get 5 stars.
Cheese like that.
Okay, go find your father.
No.
Yes, goodbye. The only 5 stars that were actually funny were Jenny Lawson's and Ali Brosh. That's it. No! That's it. I mean, I think that Ali Wong was like a close follow-up. It's just some of the stuff she said, I was like, oh, that's a little, maybe don't say that. That's just not appropriate towards Latina folks. Maybe don't say that. And I get that like they're encouraged as comedians to like, you know, make fun of people groups, which I think is kind of gross and I don't like. That's the culture of humor and I wish that it would change. So for that reason, Ali Wong didn't get quite 5 stars, but her book was very, very funny besides that. But Ali Brosh and Jenny Lawson, they had me laughing out loud in public embarrassingly. In fact, Ali Brosh's book, Hyperbole and a Half, had me snort laughing in my kitchen. It was very embarrassing. Thanks, Ali. Okay, that's it. That's the 10 years of Goodreads Choice Awards for humor category. This is in a playlist with all of the other people who did other categories, so you are welcome to go watch. I know that literally every other person except maybe one struggled because, again, this is a popularity contest, so we had to read a bunch of shit books that people love just because they were written by popular folks. Love it. Love that process. Love it. One person had to read a bunch of Cassandra Clare, which, whew, Godspeed. Another person had to read a bunch of Stephen King, just straight up not having a good time. So great. It's a great time. Okay, anyway, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Leave your comments and questions down below. Go watch the other videos in the playlist, and I will see you next time. Bye! Before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend to my patrons. First, my Therapy Bills patrons, which are Amanda, Ashley, Carlin, Claire, Des, Eric, Harley, Jack, Jill, John E, Kate B, Quinn, Lee, Lex, Molly, Rain, SJ, Scarlett, Sierra, Tori, and Zachary. Thank you all so much for being a friend. And to my potato starch Marxists, Abby, Aiden, Alicia, Allison, Andy, Anita, Artie the Ninth, Ava, BB, Beth Ann, Ray, Caitlin, Carlin, Catherine, Kathy, Celia, Cheyenne, Chris, CJ, Corwin, Corey, Darren, Deandra, Deborah, Diet Goth, Dorian, Douglas, Ebby, Eden, Elise, Emily, Faith, Grace, Gracie, Haley, Hannah C, Hannah T, Helen, Horror Goose, India Inks, JT, Jen, Jen with 2 N's, Jillian, Joni, Jules, Kaylee, Kate, Katya, Keely, Kelsey, Kylie, Laura, Lauren B, Library of Scars, Martin, Maddie, Marcella, Marquita, Molara, Model RK300, Moog, Morgan R, Moth, MXDS, James, Nat, Never, Nicole, Nicole T, Paige E, Paige P, Peggy Lou, Pixel Stars, Rachel B, Rachel S, Rachel, who is my friend on Twitter, Reba, Ren, Robin L, Rowan, Samantha, Sarah, Scarlett, Shanae, Shannon, Sheena K, Shiny, Sean, Steven, Talia, Tiana, Ursula, Valentine, Writer A, and Yesenia. Thank you all so much again for being a friend.